I do not come from the police force. I have lots of hair. In Uganda, where I come from, you can always tell who the policeman is, the military man, because they don't have hair. I'm told it's by design. So General Tafire, who was here at the front a while ago, didn't have hair. He's a general who has fought so many battles. He had little time to brush his hair. I come from the Treasury, as Maggie has said, and I come specifically from the privatization unit. The privatization unit inherited what Maggie referred to at the start, companies that were initially government-owned, state-owned enterprises that we needed to pass on to the private sector. So we had a portfolio of close to 300 companies. We've done about that. We have less than 20 left. We've successfully divested all of them. We've attracted private sector investment. And we do the existing companies. Maggie, on the other hand, has concentrated on the greenfield and brownfield. So we are partners. We promote Uganda together. We do not do this successfully without the participation of our missions and the government and the policies in place. So from the police force, I came along with two gentlemen whom I would want to introduce so that at your leisure, you feel free to interact with them. They are policemen with no warrant, documents to arrest anybody in the UK. Rogers Muhira is accounting officer and commissioner of police. Will you stand up, please? So at your leisure, feel free to interact with him. He is a commissioner of police. And Richard Ediegu is a senior commissioner of police, is a serving policeman. Also amidst us is Mr. Kalanguka Kayondo, a commissioner from the Ministry of Finance, a commissioner for investment and private sector development. Mr. Kayondo is at the extreme end. Thank you very much. My presentation is going to concentrate a lot more on a couple of things that relate to what Baggy said, and I wouldn't want to take you back to where Uganda is. I think by now you've done some background study. You know where we are located. Probably on a human body, think about the heart. We are the heart of Africa. Probably that's the only way you can place Uganda. It's in the middle of the body, it's the heart. So without Uganda, probably I would want to say that majority of Africa may not function well unless you import an artificial pump. There we are, gifted by nature, as we say, and we have lots of resources, water, minerals, etc. Kampala is the capital city, and the project we're talking about is specifically for the Uganda police. History has it that we spent a lot of time trying to manage our own internal affairs. I'm sure it happened in Great Britain. I'm sure probably it's still happening elsewhere. In Uganda, we went through a period of turmoil because of our history, and the police force, just like any other institutions of government, spent a lot of time trying to manage the challenges of the time. Consequently, the resources that were in place, the resources that were left by our colonial masters, were overstretched. We did not invest afresh in infrastructure. We did not invest afresh in housing for police, nor did we invest in office accommodation. But because of the challenges, we recruited more and more policemen. And as we speak, the state of accommodation of the police force is wanting. You have the police living in accommodation that is not worth being used by human beings. I'll be bold to say that. And the reason that state of affairs has prevailed is because of the history I've just referred to. We're cleaning up. We've moved on. We've had 20 years of stability. And what we are doing now, create the backbone infrastructure and then move on to the next stage, which is to provide infrastructure for the police force. Where the police was initially allocated during the colonial days, it was in the middle of what was then the capital city. The capital city was smaller, but it has since expanded. Now the areas where this land is located, the land for the police, where the police is actually located now, is such that you find it at the busiest of junctions in the city. Now what initially was seen as the periphery of the city has actually been caught up by development, and these pieces of huge chunk of land, prime land, are located in the prime areas of Kampala City. And this is the land we are looking at. We are looking at developing this land into modern housing estates where you're going to provide solutions to accommodate police, and then you may be able to use extra pieces of land that are valuable on the same location for commercial purposes. This is referred to as the first traditional public-private partnership in our case. I know Maggie, and through her efforts, we've done PPPs elsewhere, and government-wide has done PPPs. But they've not followed the traditional PPP schemes as we know them in the UK, as we know them worldwide. So this is truly going to be the first PPP, where we've used a blend of your own formats from Infrastructure UK, formerly Partnership UK, and probably some good best practice we've picked from other countries like Australia and South Africa. And we've evolved a Ugandan, truly Ugandan PPP solution. It's international, it's competitive. So that's the one we are deploying for this purpose, for this project. So what will be happening is that we would expect you to develop a family barracks, head office, and training school, a training academy. And in return, we will set aside a piece of land on the same location or elsewhere within the city of Kampala for you to develop your own commercially viable projects. These may range from apartments, office blocks, hotels. Uganda is now, everywhere somebody finds land, they set up a mall. They are small by comparison to what you have here, but we believe the potential, and from the figures, the growth of the population, malls are going to be a consolidated huge chain of stores, probably something that we may be looking at. So we're going to be saying, look, on one piece of land, one side of the land, which we need, which we think is conducive for policing activities, give us the offices, give us the barracks. Use the other piece of land to do whatever you want. We're not going to dictate. We're not going to decide for you. But we think when you come on the ground, as Maggie said, and you've done your studies, you've done your due diligence, you're going to find that niche in that piece of land that you can do, that you can develop for your own, for your own benefit. We're looking at small and conducive accommodation solutions. What I have up there is a simple two-bedroomed house. And that's just an example of what you may come up with. And again, truly, as you expect to do through PPPs, you may come with variations. We're going to spell out the sizes, we're going to spell out the needs, the kind of solution we would want to see you coming up with. The design, the concepts are your responsibility. Why are we doing that? Because we know that you have the innovation, you have the technology. So we do not want to restrict you. And this is a shift away from the traditional works procurement. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at both two-bedroomed houses for the junior police officers and the three-bedroomed houses for the senior police officers. I've just talked about the status of police a while ago, and I told you that basic things are lacking, and in some cases they do not actually exist. So we're shifting away from that. We're trying to provide something conducive. We're looking at creating about 1,100 units of three-bedroomed houses. We're looking at 6,200 units of two-bedroomed houses. Total number of accommodation needs is about 7,200. And we're also looking at a training school. We're looking at churches, mosques, nursery schools, and community centers, the works, the kind of things you'd find in a police barracks for the use of the policemen. In Uganda, just like it is here, we do not have a barracks set aside for only serving men. They come in with families. They have their wives, they have their children, and we are looking at solutions that will take care of all that. Our training academy, currently we have training academies scattered all over. We have training academies in the center of town, in a place called Kibuli, and we have a training academy all over the country. We're trying to create a national center of excellence which can be used by other visiting regional police forces. Uganda currently hosts so many of these. We have training needs from Burundi, training needs from Somalia, training needs from the region. We have exchange needs within the East African, the greater East African community. What we are trying to do is to turn around one of the institutions that has been sitting on very prime land, Kibuli, and shift that training institution to Masindi, somewhere near where the oil is, and then free the land in Kibuli for private investment. Just to give you a picture of how expensive this place can be. And that's why we have this very prime land. So part of it, we are going to set up our head office, and part of that, we're going to allow you to do whatever you need there. I think, again, Maggie, through their interventions and marketing, we've tried, in Uganda, we have the first ever, a small portion of office blocks that came up. And I think before they were done around the same place in Kololo, they were taken up before they were finished. In Uganda, most of the people who are setting up businesses and coming up to set up shop, they're finding it difficult to find organized office space. They're actually moving into residential areas in upscale environment. We're saying probably that piece of land will provide that solution. Imagine if somebody came to Kololo, to Naguru, and thought about an office apartments, well-planned, ICT solutions in one place, everything done, and somebody just set up an office park. We think it's something that can be done, and this is the kind of land we're looking at and willing to offer. The digital requirements for this particular head office will be contained in RFQ, and we are in the advanced stages of releasing it. We're also looking at regional police stations. We're talking about, again, for those who know Kampala, we're talking